Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a terrific day. This is Canada Day long weekend. I'm filming this video. I'm gonna be putting on some coilovers on my RSX.
Oh my god! Wow!
I'll get more into it because people are gonna ask, your car's already low, why are you putting coilovers on? I had coilovers, I had eBay coilovers, they broke. And then I went to lowering springs as the cheap alternative, and I get way too much wheel hop when I'm on the track. And I think it's time to put on some coilovers. Now I got these used, but they're a good brand. They got dampening, three-way adjustable, all that good stuff, and they seem like they're in good condition. So we're gonna throw those on, and I got a crazy unpassable deal on them. And I don't want to spend $2,000 on coilovers. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So we got the coilovers here. They're a little rough, but do not worry. We got some tools I brought home from work. And then there's my car.
Nice car.
My Acura RSX that we're gonna be doing this install video on, and yeah. Okay guys, so the car is all jacked up. We got the jack stands on. Remember, safety first, and we'll go ahead and start unbolting the wheels. I don't know if you can see that. I got lowering springs in here instead of coilovers, right? And you could already tell these bump stops, they're broken because of how much I hit them. And look at how much I rub. Plus, I got these meaty Indy Hawk 500s on here because I need them for traction. So let's get into it. No walkie, if you want to. All right, guys. So wheels are off. Now we got a lot more space to do what we need to do. So right now, main things I'm concerned about, I gotta take off the tie rod end, outer tie rod. So we gotta take this this cotter pin out and then this bolt off. And you wanna do this with a gun just because if that starts to spin, it's very tricky to get these off. And usually when you do this type of job, you replace them, but I just replaced these and these are practically brand new. Then there's these two bolts that hold the spindle to the actual strut, right? So you're gonna want to take these two off, and then you're gonna want to take off your brake line over here. Just take it off this mounting bracket right here, okay? And then we'll do that, and we'll obviously do one side at a time, and I'll meet you guys back up when I finish doing that. We got our wrench on there, so we're gonna take off the two bolts that connect the spindle to the strut. So there's one. There's two. So now, before we take them out, we want to take that brake line bracket bolt out so that when we drop the spindle, we don't damage and we don't put any stress on this brake line cable. So I think it's a 12 millimeter. Okay, jeez, scared me. I had to move the camera back there so I can get to this. Okay, so we got that bolt out, guys. So now you can see we got a bunch of play with this. So now I'm gonna take these out and then the spindle will drop. Okay, there we go. The spindle's dropped. You want to make sure the axle doesn't come out. I've seen people do this where they take the axle out, but if we don't need to, we're not gonna. Okay, see how much more play we got? So now we need to take this tie rod end off. So we're gonna bend the cotter pin. If yours aren't worn out like mine, you can just do it with some needle nose pliers, which I think I'm gonna need. So you see that right there. Gonna get our needle nose. Try and hit it. Gonna put you down over there. Okay, we got her out. So now we're gonna lay that down over there. And now we need to get the socket for this. Pretty sure it's a 17. Nope.
Nope.
18. Nope.
Nope.
Is it a 19?
Yeah.
Yes. So now we're gonna pray that this doesn't spin the ball joint inside of this and that it just comes down. And to help that, I'm actually gonna go put some WD-40 on that. WD-40's been sitting for a little bit, so now we're gonna go ahead and take our gun and let's hope. Let's go. Okay, so that came off like in the smoothest way possible. So now we're gonna put it back on, actually. Enough, and then we're gonna take a hammer and hit the nut. Not the threads, the nut. There we go. So now, take this off right there. And now everything on the bottom is apart. So look at this. We got our tie rod end off. So now the wheel can move like this. The spindle bolts, I just have the one in for the safety. But now that we've done that, we've taken off the brake line bracket. Now we got to do the top. So there's 3 bolts on our 3 nuts that hold the strut to the strut tower, and we got to take those off. So in my case, I have a strut bar that connects the 2 strut towers to make the car a lot more sturdy when going around corners. So we're gonna have to take that off, and then we can take these off. Okay, so let's get into that. Okay guys, so now we got the strut tower, the brace off. Now we just got to take these collars off, and then we can drop one side. Milwaukee, if you want to, you can. Okay guys, so that is our first strut out. Look at that. And it's actually super simple, guys. It's super simple. Coilovers is definitely something that you should know how to do if you're going to be working on cars, stuff like that. It's an amazing learning experience. So just like that. So that is one side done. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do this side. I'll see you guys when I'm done taking off both sides. Oh, and I just wanted to quickly put this in. I put a little bungee cord to hold the spindle from completely falling, because we want to make sure that that axle stays intact, because inside they could actually come apart and they're really annoying to put back together if they are on the car. So yeah. Okay, left side is out. So guys, it's been about 15 minutes and we already got both the front struts out. And in today's video, we're only going to be doing the front. In the next part, we're going to be doing the back. And so yeah, in 15 minutes, you could have the whole front apart. Look at that. Look how easy it is. And yeah, I've got the bungee cord. So now it's time for us to put in our brand new used coilovers. Yes, they're a bit rusty. Those are just the springs. We're looking for them to be functional, right? When I get rich, then I can buy some nice coilovers, okay? So we're gonna be putting these on, all right? Now, you can only put these on one right side, okay? So this is for the right side. You can't put this on this side. You see, it won't work. You got to get the tie rod over there. So this is going to be for the right side. And just a quick little explanation. This is how you adjust the height. This is the spring rate. You just want to put these so that the spring is snug, and then this is how you adjust the height on these coilovers anyway. This is how you adjust camber. These 4 bolts right here. You slide them in and out, and it will slide the strut in or out depending on if you want your wheels, you know, how much stance you want. And then this knob right here, not all coilovers have this, but this is the dampening. So there's an S and an H. One is to make it harder, and then one is to make it softer. Okay, so all that stuff, we're gonna mess around with it as I drive the car and experiment with which is better for me and my type of driving. So without further ado, I'm gonna wipe these down a little bit, and then we're gonna put them on, and then we're gonna adjust the height to about the same height that I had these on, which is, I like a Meteor fitment on the car. I'll put up a picture on what type of fitment that is. I like when the tire is not tucked into the fender, but just right at the fender, right? I like it to where it's just there, right? So I'm not stanced, but I'm not monster trucking, you know? And without further ado, let's get into that. So just like we did before, I'm gonna show how to put on one side, and then I'm gonna do a quick time lapse for the other side, okay? Just gonna wipe down the dust off of these. It's okay if they're a little bit dusty. What we're really worried about is the actual the bolting components that we need to bolt on to the car. And guys, don't worry about how the springs look. It's the condition of them. You could always repaint springs. You could always replace springs. Again, we're going for a functionality move right now. We're not going for looks. We're going for how it works, you know? This isn't a show car by any means. This is a car I'm building in my backyard. This is, you know, we're going for functionality. I want to be able to take a turn and know I can trust my suspension to carry the car the way it needs to go, right? So without further ado, we're gonna put these on. Okay guys, we got her mounted up. Now I'm going to attach the spindle to the strut with the bolts. Okay, we got it. So now these bolts, you can put them in whichever direction you want. I'm putting them in this way because I've noticed it hits the brake line when I try and take them out that way. You gotta remember, you don't always gotta put the car back together how it came off the finish line. So now, got it moving properly. So now, put these up. We're not gonna tighten anything tight yet. Just gonna put everything together, because then I'll go in to explain the alignment of the car. Alright, so now I'm gonna make sure all this is clean. So sometimes you might need some help putting those top bolts in, so we're gonna jack up spindle a little bit to get those to fit in properly. Just like that, guys. So now we can go ahead. Just gonna give this a quick wipe. Like that. We can go ahead and put our strut collar back on and put the nuts back on to hold the strut. Okay, so now the top is tight. Now the bottom, we're gonna put the tie rod end in and then bolt these on and the brake line, and then we got one side done. Let's get back to it. So now I just took a quick look, and these coilovers, the tie rod ends actually mount up backwards. So instead of going from the top down, they go from the bottom up. So the reason they do that actually is so that they can counteract for the bump steer. Now, because your car is gonna be low, these tie rod ends, when the car is on the ground, is gonna be like this, right? So they wanna even it out so that your tie rods are as straight as possible so that you get as least bump steer, right? So then they flip them over. They flip them over like this so that instead of them being all the way up here, they're only up here, right? So I just noticed that looking at the holes on where you put them in. So we're gonna clean those up quickly and then slide them in. Now tie rod ends, you want them tight, okay? Because that's something you do not want coming out. Those come out, you have no more steering. So, and that's something you need with a car. So yeah, so we're gonna put this cotter pin back in. If you want to, I recommend putting new ones. These aren't too old, they got a little bit of surface rust. When I go back to work, I'm gonna put some new ones in just because I'm anal like that. But for the time being, we could reuse these. So we're just gonna put those in like that. Fold them up, okay? Now, we've got the tie rod on, we've got the top mounted up, we got these bolts in, but they're not tight. You see how we can move the wheel in and out? So now, that movement is gonna adjust our alignment, right? So we're gonna wanna move them as far out as possible so I get as much positive camber, because this is a car I don't want any stance on. I want the wheels as straight as possible. So we're gonna pull it out as much as possible and then tighten them with the gun. So we're gonna do that. Now we just gotta put on our brake line bracket, hold our brake line in place, and then this is one side done. So now, guys, that's one side done. We got the cotter pin in, tie rod end in, we've got spindle attached to the strut, we've got the brake line bracket on, we've got the top mounted up, it's all tight. So now that's one side done. For the other side, I'm just gonna do a quick time lapse. All right, guys, so the left side is complete. We got the cotter pin, tie rod end on, got the brake line bracket on, and we got the spindle bolts tight. So now we just got to put the strut brace back in, and then we can lower the car and see how she sits. So she is back on the ground. As you can see, that's not the height I want to have the car sit at. The front is way higher than the back, but I am loving. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but this wheel is sticking out and this wheel is inside a little bit, so car's definitely gonna need an alignment. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly adjust them. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is part 1. In the next part, we're gonna be doing the rear coilovers. I hope you guys learned something in this video. If you guys enjoyed watching it. Without further ado, I'll see you guys in part 2. All right.